Hello everybody. I hope that your Saturday is going well. And we got the monthly chat. Remember, it's always the first. Let me actually check my text here. Okay. We can turn it on, but I need to get it. There we go. Let me move it here. Okay. Hi, Pamela. Hi, Heidi. Hi, Francoise. I have to tell you that my best friend comes to pick me up later after this live. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Julia. And if we are going to Lowe's, I'm going to actually do a live from Lowe's. Hi, Chris. To show you various things that you can find from Lowe's and at Lowe's, and you don't have to spend a whole bunch of money on the... Because you know how usually stuff that's for crafting, and especially polymer clay crafting, is more expensive than when it is for other things. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Maggie. Hello. Hi, Nicole. Yeah, here we finally had a little bit of rain, and I hope, they say we might have some more, so I hope we do. And pardon my looks, but I'm still for another, hold on, till the 8th. I'm still not allowed to put any kind of cream or makeup. The only thing I can use is lipstick on my face. And I tried using a no rinse shampoo, and it made my hair look worse than if it were dirty. So, but supposedly it's clean. So yeah, don't use that. But hi, Andrea. Anyway, so if I'm going to go to Lowe's later today, I'm going to do a live from the store. Hi, Darlene. So I can show you what things you can get from there that will make your life a lot easier. Some kind of tiles, stuff to make bales, and all kinds of other things. And why I want to go there is because, thank you, because I saw that they have brought... depends on the silicone. Because I saw that they have brought some new marble large tiles that are supposed to be non-shiny. So if I find one, I'm going to get it for whenever I don't do canes or stuff that needs measuring. It would be easier on the eyes than the black matte that I have. So, let me start with answering some questions. Number one, with my the last tutorial that I uploaded, hi Judy, is I saw there was a comment that says, oh, disclaimer, if you use Varathane because the fumes will kill your eyes. And no. On polymer clay, you only use water-based varnishes. Never use regular Varathane. And anything that is water-based does not have fumes. So you can imagine that being so close after eye surgery, I definitely didn't choose something that could have affected my eyes. And I'm sorry I didn't even think about putting that in the tutorial because... you know, sometimes I just presume that everybody knows everything. So but yeah, I need to, as I said, hopefully I'll be able to catch up soon. I noticed yesterday that the vision in my left eye has kind of improved, and I'm having less headaches, and it hurts much less when I have to focus my eyes on something, you know. So I should be starting to catch up probably sometime next week on everything. And Now, I was asked about molds. Pamela has asked me if I did any molds tutorials, and I only did one, and I'm going to link it for you, where I showed you how you can use Oyumaru to make molds. And this is the link. Morning, Beth. And Oyumaru, generally speaking, is a kind of gummy plastic that, in order to make it soft, and you'll see in the tutorial, you need to put it in hot water, and then you can take whatever molds you want. And yeah, you can place. I have some Oyumaru here because I intend to make a few more molds of some things. And yeah, I did put a link in the influencer store in the molds section. And I prefer to get this one because you get more for your buck. It is used also to make all kinds of charms. The good thing that is about this is that if you get bored of the mold you just made, you can just throw it again in hot water and make another mold. While the regular molds, once you did them, that's it. And yes, I did get quite a while ago both pouring. Okay, what happened to my camera? Hold on. What happened to my camera? It decided to unfocus. Oh, there you go. I got both some pouring silicone and one of those mold kits, so we can play with those as well. But as you know, I've just been so far behind since the whole cataracts started, and it just added to all my other issues. And then I've had I don't know, probably it's just the stress I've been having this past week, a couple days in which I was just super fatigued. I don't know if it was fibro, if it was just stress getting on. And somebody actually asked me in an email how long it is since I took a vacation. Like, well, you know, since I opened the channel, I didn't, because I've always planned on doing one, but I need to get a few tutorials done and scheduled to be uploaded, you know, so that I can just take some time off. But things happened and I wasn't able to. And of course, now Whisper wants something. What do you want? What's your problem? You need to go to bed. He was very picky about food this morning, so he only ate an egg, and I guess now he's hungry and he wants food, but he'll have to wait. Pamela, to answer your question, what kind of silicone I would need to know? Hold on. You can find all my links if you go on my channel. On my channel page, you can get all my links and my website and the Facebook and everything. So this is but if you go on my channel page, you can get absolutely all. And you can go on the About tab, but if you look at the header image on the bottom right of the header image, you can see all. I know, Francoise, you can see all my not my most important things, but in the About tab you can see more links where you can get in contact with me. So, Pamela, it depends what kind of silicones and what you're trying to get the mold of is made out of. But to be very honest, you can make molds even with hot glue, and I'll show you. Hopefully soon I'll be able to show you how, because I got some hot glue. I think you might want it, you can try. Hi Janice. Hi Susan. I already answered Susan. Never mind. I think that if you just put some release agent, and I think that Armor All should work on whatever you try to take a mold of, you can do that. But what I got for a few things, and I'm going to talk about it when I'll do the tutorial about molds. There are a few things that if you want your mold to look more professional, you need to do. For example, if you get any of your medication in large bottles, you can use whatever to cut the bottle to only about this tall, and then if you have a small mold of something, you can put it in, and then you'll have a very nice or you can use simple transparent printer paper that looks kind of like laminates, and you can find that in the office supply, and you can just create boxes for your molds. You probably saw some tutorials on resin with people making their own little molds for resin, and then all you need to do is to just you can use one of these mirror tiles to do that, and you just cut whatever shape you need, and then you use some tape so there wouldn't be anything underneath. And I wouldn't mix silicone and cornstarch, because if at any time that thing gets wet, the cornstarch will dissolve. So, and you'll get a mold that's got a whole bunch of bubbles. But yeah, you try it. I mean, you don't know, I don't know what kind of silicone, and there are a whole bunch. And I'll get through the silicone. If I go to Lowe's today, I'll get through the silicone and all caulking area, and I'll look if there's anything that can be used. And the other thing, and again, I'll say it. I've been asked again over and over, what's my favorite varnish? Hi Nunya. And my favorite varnish is all, depending on what I'm working on. Because some varnishes, and that is the same thing with the what's my favorite clay. Depends what I'm working on. Because, and about clay, the only one that's not my favorite, and I advise everybody not to work with it, is Sculpey 3. But some varnishes, number one, when you select a varnish, you need first of all to know, you're talking about release. Cornstarch doesn't work on everything. That's good for polymer clay, but not so good for mold stuff. There's a specific mold release for silicone. So when you're varnishing, when you do your choice of varnish, number one, you need to know, is the piece going to go back in the oven or not? Because some varnishes can be baked, some cannot be baked. In this respect, if you don't have a big budget, your best option is get some regular Sculpey glaze, depending if you want glossy or satin, and get some water-based Minwax, which is about half the price of Varathane. But make sure that it is water-based. Once again, don't use regular Minwax or regular Varathane, only the water-based one. And that way you know that the Sculpey glaze can be baked, the Minwax cannot be baked. Another thing that you need to keep in mind when choosing the varnish is wood, because normally I only apply varnish whenever I did some kind of surface treatment. If I have no surface treatment, I'll always prefer sanding and buffing, because I like much better how it looks like. And also with some waxes, you don't need any kind of sealing. Like the Prima marketing waxes, they will not go off once they are hardened enough. You can buff them to beautiful shine. Gilder space sometimes will come off. Inca Gold needs sealing because it's practically acrylic. But as I was saying, if you have any kind of surface treatment, you need to think if that surface treatment will be in any way affected by water. And I'm going to tell you something I did at one point, and it really pained me, and I still did not find anything to work. And I asked left and right to all the artists I knew who had a lot of experience. At one point I had made I don't even remember why I was trying that, but I had made, a series of those lentil beads on the Scalpy lentil bead maker, and it was in white. And then I was watching something, and I had just painted some watercolor thing, and I just started painting some roses on those little discs. And everything was nice and good, but then I was like, okay, I need to seal these, because if at any time this will come in contact with water or perspiration or whatever, it's going to get smudged. And I wasn't able to find anything that I could apply it on without my watercolor painting smudging. Hi, Anna. So, and yeah, I did try pretty much everything, including spray, including resin, including it smudges. So I had to learn how to do that, using how to paint watercolor like painting using alcohol inks. And I even wonder if I still have them, because I think that I did post them at one point on my blog long time ago. Let me see if I can find it. That's bad when having the other camera there, but it would take me too long to find them on Facebook. But it was pretty nice, and I wanted to do a whole necklace thing, but it just didn't work. So yeah, I cannot find the photos, unfortunately. They're somewhere on my blog, somewhere. All the paints. But yeah, as I said, I asked left and right, and I wasn't able to find them. Now, what is next? What is next? Right now, I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm trying to catch up with my sponsored tutorials, and I'm hoping to start putting them up soon, because I had a few drawbacks. I didn't like how some stuff was taped. I didn't think that it would be explaining properly how the whole process is done. And if I am a perfectionist when it comes to my YouTube videos, hi Christina, you can imagine that when it comes to the sponsors and after that paid tutorials, I am double the perfectionist. I think that it needs to be super well done, and I am very, very interested in explaining the process so people can understand it, because as I said so many times, I did not open the channel to show you what an awesome artist I am. I opened the channel to help people learn and advance as artists. So with everything that I do, I have to, number one, find a way, because that's the deal. When you have a lot of experience in something and you try to teach other people that something, you have to never forget the fact that those people do not know everything that you know. And things can happen, like with my latest YouTube video, where I didn't even realize that I should put there that only use water-based varathane. So whenever I do something, I need to find, first of all, a way that would be easy for pretty much everybody, and then I need to find a way of explaining it in such a way that it would be easy to understand for everybody. So this is why sometimes it takes me longer, and honestly, the better software and equipment I got, the more of a perfectionist I became. And you can all see the difference between my beginning videos and the videos that I make now. So yeah, I do have quite a bit of tutorials that need finished for the sponsors, and then there will be, I have them there, I'm working on them, the ones for YouTube. There will be one more because I did the Bargello, and I don't know how many of you noticed, but I had made 2 sheets of that colorful clay, and I only used one in the Bargello. The other one will be used in a different tutorial that I hope you'll like. And then I have, and hopefully I'll be able to do it Monday, because today I don't expect to be able to work on too much, as I'm going out shopping, and that tires me a lot. And then tomorrow I'll be able to work in the morning, but once the live turns around, usually after the lives, I'm completely pooped. And I kind of try to always keep my Sunday afternoon, that's my only day in which I relax. I don't care about anything. That's my half a day of vacation a week. So I'll work on all that Monday. And I'm sorry that I put it off for so long. Hi, Techno Glue. And I'm talking about the Fimo leather. I've just been waiting for Trish to get the Fimo leather in the store, and she just didn't. Thank you, Andrea. But I've got all this Fimo leather and leather effect, and I already have the design with one bracelet for the sponsors that's going to become a paid tutorial, and another bracelet, at least these 2, for YouTube. And then I have a few other pieces designed that are all, actually they kind of mix the Fimo leather effect with other clays. And because another thing that I need to start working on is to show you that, yes, as I always said, it's not a good thing to mix the clays. Hi, Sarah. Oh my goodness, you're up late. It's not a good thing to mix the clays, and that is to mix them together when working, because they can have different temperatures, they can have different texture and stuff. That doesn't mean that you cannot mix the clays, and I'm not talking about mixing them together. I'm talking about making a piece that's made out of various components, and those components to be made out of different clays. Because getting back to which is your favorite clay, again, depends what I'm trying to do. If I'm trying to do a mokumegane, for a mokumegane you want a soft clay. You don't want a firm clay, because the deformation in a mokumegane will look completely different in a firm clay than it does in a soft clay. When you do the mokumegane deformations in a firm clay, that deformation will happen only in the point of deformation. But when you're talking about a soft clay, when you poke in, all the layers get pulled in and pushed down. While if you're going with a firm clay, whatever, let's say that I would use a bowl stylus. When I poke with the bowl stylus, and I have several layers of firm clay, when I poke with the bowl stylus will go through the layers, but the layers will not move. They will move only where the bowl stylus goes down. But if I'm working with a soft clay like Cernit, like Premo, like Soufflé, then when I poke with the bowl stylus, all the layers will be pulled in. So imagine that if you have plain lines with one deformation here and you start cutting slices, it's going to look in one way. But when you have deformation like this in the layers and you cut slices, it's going to look completely different. So that is one thing. Or if I would make, let's say, a specific translucent, because we cannot do actual transparent with polymer clay, but if I would do a translucent gemstone, then I would want, I would want a polymer clay that is known for the translucency of its translucent variation. So I'll definitely not use Fimo. I'll definitely not use Kato. Premo is okay-ish, but I would definitely go for Cernit or Pardo. And then how I would choose between the two, again, it depends what kind of effects I have in that stone I'm trying to imitate. Because, I have the faux pink quartz that's actually copyrighted. But I did the faux pink quartz in Premo, and then I did it in Pardo. And why I didn't use, and I'm probably, because I did some trials with Cernit and I'm not happy with it. Why? Because the pink quartz has straight fracture lines. So that means that whenever I try to imitate the fracture line, I want that clay to be firmly straight lines. So when I'm chopping the clay, I'm going to have rectangular or squarish pieces depending on how I'm chopping. But if I use Cernit, when I chop, they are going to get rounded, so it's not going to look the same way. While, to give you the example of something that would require a lot of chatoyancy, when I'm going to go for chatoyancy, then I want, number one, I want a clay that has good mica. And here I probably will not go for Pardo, because Pardo is splendid when making jewelry. It's splendid when creating the foam metal, but the mica is way too fine. It does not create a very good mica shift effect. It's very subtle, it's very delicate, but if you need to do a chatoyancy in a faux gemstone, you need something that's very full of mica. Then Premo, the pearlescents and the metallics are really good because they have a lot of mica, only that the mica is a little bit too large. So when you go close up to the faux gemstone, you can see that it's not really kosher. But if you go especially on the new Cernit metallics, you can do absolutely fabulous things. And obviously for that kind of stuff, I'm going to use Cernit, which also has enough good translucent to give me the layers that will help me do the chatoyancy. If I'm going for a stone like, let's say, Bumblebee Jasper or Picture Jasper or any of the Jaspers that look a little bit raggedy, then I'm going to definitely go for something that's more on the softish side, and that would be Premo is okay for that. But definitely would be Cernit. So if I go for sculpting something, I'm not going to go for Cernit, even if Cernit has a beautiful as appearance and as texture for making one of a kind dolls. Nevertheless, because it's so soft, it's such a pain to work with it, and you need to put it in the fridge all the time. And because it's very soft, it's kind of hard to do very fine detail. Yes, it looks beautiful. What I mean by chatoyancy, hold on, I'll show you what I mean by chatoyancy. Okay, let me put this one. Yeah, I'm breaking out the crystal. Let me fix it. And let me get the focus properly here. Okay, so this is chatoyancy. These are Mexican opals, and this is tiger's eye. And talking about tiger's eye, this is what it took me so long to perfect my for tiger's eye, because all the tutorials that were out there, even when they had chatoyancy, they had it going the wrong way. But thank you, Pamela. But it took me a while to be able to get the chatoyancy to go in the length of the lines, not perpendicular on them. And so, actually, let me bring some for tiger eye. Hold on a second. Hold on, I'm trying to find them. This is a red. This is a golden. This is a green. Okay, so obtaining this chatoyancy with clay, and see what I was talking about, Premo. This is done with Premo. You can see the mica is not fine enough. You can do, yeah, those are real ones. You can do the chatoyancy, but if you go too close, you'll notice the mica particles, while that does not happen when you use Cernit. I have no Cernit made right now, but that is the main thing. So here was a golden, a red, and a green, but with Cernit they look much better. So yeah, that is the chatoyancy. So again, when trying to do a stone that involves deformation, you use one type of clay. When you're trying to do a stone that involves caning, because of course you can do like the Petoskey stone, that involves caning. The malachite, that involves caning. Well, you can do the malachite in Mokumegane as well, and I hope to be able to show you one day how to do that as well. But yeah, it all depends. I cannot say, yeah, I do have a preferred clay for making flowers. I do have a preferred clay for making petersite. I do have a preferred clay for sculpting. I do have a preferred clay for canes. I mean, if you're going for canes, you definitely want a clay that is firm enough. If you're not going for the organic ones, if you go for the geometrical ones, you want a clay that's firm enough to keep the lines throughout, because otherwise you cannot do a proper a geometrical cane. And you want something like Fimo Professional or something like Kato. You are not going to get a good geometric cane with souffle or with Cernit. So yeah, when it comes to that, this is, some people really don't like that. Whenever I'm asked a question like this, my answer would be depends. And I'm not talking about the diapers. But it depends. It depends on what you're trying to do. So with everything that you're going to ask me about what is the best for, my answer will be, in most cases, it depends. Because in most cases, it depends on what you're trying to do. What is your purpose? Because I'm not going, if I'm trying to seal mica powder on clay, I'm going to use one type of varnish. If I'm going to try to seal alcohol ink on clay, I'm going to use a different. If I'm trying to use acrylic paint, and some work better than others, and it also depends on how you applied it. Because, hi Cherry, I'm okay. Because for some designs, for some surface treatments, for example, it's one thing if you use a plain varnishing or a plain glaze, but if you want to obtain certain effects, then you want to put resin on them. But on the other hand, resin would be a waste if you don't have anything, any type of pattern or design that would be enhanced by applying the resin, because you have that magnifying glass type of effect whenever you put resin on something. So yeah, it's very, or I get, which are your favorite paints? That is, and Ginger from the Blue Bottle Tree, I know, wrote an article. I didn't get to read it yet. I read just the introduction, and I thought that that's a really good thing, and I was going to do something on that effect as well. It depends, and of course the brush also, it's very important. But with the paints, it depends what you're trying to do. If you're trying to plain color something, If if you're trying to obtain a faux patina, if you're trying to do an antiquing, if you're trying to give just some blush, like on dolls and stuff, if you need to build something, because there are some paints that are pure opaque, there are some paints that are transparent. For example, there's a whole silks glazes that are transparent, and they will give you a completely different effect. Or you have like the opal magics. Yeah, for opals, Pardo works great, but honestly, you can do Cernit as well for the opals. It will work just as good as Pardo. Um, and That's why I'm saying. And the other thing is, for example, are you trying to do a crackle? Because if you're trying to do a crackle and you're trying to get a more specialized paint, like for example the Prima marketing paint acrylics, the Prima marketing acrylics are especially designed for cards and for home decorating, and they have a glue component, and you can find that in quite a good number of other brands of acrylic paints, like for example, the Maya Gold of Viva. And if you're trying to do crackle using an acrylic paint that's got glue component, that is an elastic paint. The only thing you're gonna obtain when you're trying to crackle that sheet of clay, it's going to look like, remember the old poor quality vinyl, when faux leather, when you'd get it to peel off. This is what's going to happen. So again, I cannot tell you what is my most favorite paint, because it depends what I am trying to do with it, what I'm trying to use it for. There would be some acrylic paints that work great for a silk screening, and some that will not work as good for silk screening. And again, generally speaking, I most of the time, if you use an acrylic paint, like the regular acrylic paint in the store, that's between $1 and $2 a bottle, those do not have that much of a glue component. And as much as it seems a little bit counterproductive, because you think, well, a paint that has a glue component is going to gunk up my silk screen. No, it won't. If you clean it right after that, it will not. It will be just fine. But when you start manipulating your silk screened sheet of clay, because you need to put it on a bangle or you need to put it somewhere, if you have used the regular cheapo acrylic, that might start cracking, because no matter what, you're going to deform a little bit the clay while you're working with it. So you want to use an acrylic paint that has a little bit of that gluish component, of that elastic quality, because that's when your silk screen pattern will not get any kind of cracking. You can see it especially when you're doing white. You can see that very fine cracking. So again, it's very, very different depending on what you're trying to use those paints for. But once again, you don't always have to. And yeah, can you do your own? Yeah, of course you can. Mix 10 parts of regular acrylic paint with 1 part of Elmer's glue, and you got your acrylic paint with elasticity. So again, you don't have to spend a fortune to get good results. Yeah, I probably need to make a few more silk screens and stencils. If you have problems with silk screening, you might want to first try using stencils. Stencils are much easier to use than silk screens. For people who never silk screened, I suggest you first start using stencils. And BB Craft, I did at one point a couple videos about the stuff that BB Craft has, but they have some really neat stencils. I know I did a necklace on that, but I'm trying to find one to show you. These are only like $10 and you get like 20 of them or more. It's bbcraft.com, but see, they're really beautiful stencils, and I think that this was the one that I used on that necklace. But yeah, if you try to do silk screening and you mica shift paints work great with silk screen. I mean, mica shift, there is no mica shift paint. You have paints that have some type of mica in them or some kind of color shift powder. But yeah, all of them work good. The color shift, Deco Art color shift works great. What polishing wax? I don't know what you're talking about. Judy, there's a lot of polishing waxes or pastes, and you can find them both in my Amazon influencer store and on PolyClay Play in the waxes, paints and waxes. And most of the Prima marketing, she's carrying most of the Prima marketing that are not very expensive, and you can get them in small. So if there is no other question, I know I didn't go so far into showing you all kinds of stuff that I intend to make because I want to first get to making them, at least catch up on some stuff, and I need to start getting ready because my friend will come pick me up real soon, and I don't move very fast, so it takes me a while to get ready to get out of the house. But the Renaissance, you can get it in larger and in smaller. Wait. Oh yeah, by the way, I did a short live on Facebook a couple hours ago to show you about these all of them are pretty once they are hardened. To show you how these cards with shelves work and how easy they are to be put together. But no, the Renaissance wax, you can get it in a larger container or a small container. I honestly don't advise you to buy the large container because you're gonna use it, a small one, a long time. Those are the Prima marketing, and you can find them both on Trish and on, I've shown them so many times. It's the Metallic line and the Opal Magic line. And you find them in the waxes section in my Amazon influencer store, and in the paints and waxes section in PolyClay Play. Yeah, I know, especially with Whisper. Weight is not in his vocabulary, and I'll have to find time to feed him a little bit more before I start getting ready. So, because with him I cannot make him wait too long when he's hungry because of his liver condition. So hopefully I'll get to Lowe's, and if I get to Lowe's, I'll start broadcasting live from there to show you exactly where you find the stuff and what's the stuff that you can find and use for various things. Okay, so I'll see you all tomorrow when we'll be finishing the scarabs necklace, and this time we'll just put everything together and all that. Yeah, I know. It just lasts forever, and generally all the waxes do. So I'll see you all tomorrow and have a wonderful Saturday. Thank you so much for being here with me.